Hi, I'm Hugh Chow from Meld Magazine, and I am here today to talk about masturbation and some of the things that come along with it. Today I have a panel of experts with me from Red Aware. I have Alex, Rosalie and Kashi with me, and let's just get right into it. Sex in itself is already a hard topic to kind of tackle. You know, a lot of people, especially our audience, don't really want to talk about it and engage with it. But when you open up with masturbation, it's actually a lot harder to get them to engage because it's such a personal thing. And I guess my big question to start off with is, why is it so hard for people to kind of open up about masturbation, do you think?
I think probably just because it's something that's not really talked about, either in schools and sex ed classes or at home with parents. It's just kind of a subject that is kind of pushed to the side and it's kind of hush-hush.
I think the other thing, people seem to separate different types of sexual acts, or they'll either group them together. And an interesting way to look at it is, if you're talking about sex or masturbation and want to separate them, you can look at masturbation as a form of sex in itself. I know a lot of sex educators out there that refer to masturbation as just having sex with yourself. So, if you're abstaining from sex, are you also abstaining from masturbation as well? And it kind of calls into how we group the different types of sexual activities.
Well, I think that one of the biggest myths is that women don't masturbate,
Yeah,
and that's probably
that.
the biggest and largest and the one that's probably most untrue. But in terms of women masturbating, it's pretty hard to figure out the exact numbers because there is such a stigma. A lot of women don't like to disclose because they're embarrassed or feel guilty. But like in relation to if a woman's menstruating, it actually helps menstrual cramps, and is a pain reliever in and of itself because of some of the hormones that it releases.
I think there's an inverse that happens for young males or men, where no one's talking about female masturbation. Everyone's talking about male masturbation. There's not so much stigma surrounding it, but there's a lot of pressure about if you're not doing it, that you should be doing it, or if you, depending on how old you are, whether you're able to ejaculate yet. And there's lots of myths that surround. I think one of the ones that you said was, if I do it too much, then I'm going to run out of semen or something like that, and which is untrue. That your body, without getting into the biomechanical things, your body is able to reproduce semen all the time, is reproducing semen, or producing, semen all the time. So there isn't really, in terms of sperm count, an unhealthy amount of time that you can masturbate.
I think that there's no right amount. We can't give you a number. Again, listening to your body is a really important thing. If you feel that you're masturbating too much because something's hurting or anything along those lines, then yeah, maybe stop it a little bit, or maybe it might be the way you're masturbating. So possibly the use of sex toys might help in that situation, or just changing your position. Lubricant. Yeah, there's so many ways to fix the amount, if you will, if you want to keep going.
Lubrication is a great one. It's safe, but it's also going to enhance pleasure as well. Again, especially for men, if you are circumcised, lubrication is probably your best friend when it comes to masturbation, just to avoid that excessive friction. But I mean, for everyone, really, lubrication is the best.
Is it also okay to masturbate while you're in a sexual relationship with someone, do you think?
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you mean like as in masturbate yourself or masturbate with the person? Or okay, well, all of the above is okay.
Actually,
oh, sorry.
I was going to say some studies have found that people that are in relationships actually masturbate more frequently than people who aren't in relationships.
And I think that's where it's about not necessarily having to separate the two. Like, if you're in a relationship, you only have sex and you don't masturbate, or if you're not in a relationship, all you can do is masturbate. I think it's all interchangeable. You can introduce individual masturbation or mutual masturbation with your partners if that's something that you want to do, and it can be a really good way if there are times where you don't want to have intercourse, but you still want to be intimate with your partner, then it's kind of a nice break.
Or as you were saying earlier, like your partner's not necessarily going to want to have sex or have sexual activity at the same time that you want to. So if you have the major urge, then masturbation can help with that.
Do you think that perhaps when people are masturbating in a sexual relationship, does it maybe affect the relationship if, like, say, they're enjoying masturbation more than they are the actual act of intercourse itself?
Yeah, I think that can, again, that's where communication and negotiation around sex with your partner becomes really important. If you're in a relationship and one of the people don't necessarily want to have sex but always want to masturbate, I think it's kind of an important time to go, okay, what are you getting out of masturbation that you may not be getting out of sex? What can we incorporate, or let's talk about this and see what works for both
I think it's
parties.
like common, not common, but there is like studies done that male masturbation with like your own hand is a lot tighter than vagina, so it feels better. And if that's the case, then like you could loosen up your hands for male masturbation so that you can feel more pleasure from sex. So it's just about changing up your own routine to make it better for yourself.
Like if you were a parent, telling your child about masturbation, how would you, I guess, open that conversation up with them?
It's a behavior that you're probably going to take part in, which is, it's fine, it's healthy, just not to say that it can only be done behind closed doors, but that it sometimes is just better done in private, but nothing to be embarrassed about, obviously.
I think it's also part of, research shows that it's good to talk about sex and sexuality with children from a really young age. And it's not necessarily getting your 4-year-old and talking about masturbation at that age, but introducing sex and sexuality at a really young age and, kind of seeing it as a progressive thing. So when they get to 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever age you want to talk to them about, you've already kind of broached the subject on many different occasions, and this is just an evolution of that discussion. So
how do you guys feel personally about, say, in films, for example, or in TV media when they're depicting, I guess, specifically for gender roles, because I feel that when women are having pleasure on film and TV, they put a harsher kind of restriction on that as opposed to when men are having pleasure. Do you guys feel that there's some sort of imbalance there with that? Or?
I think it's getting better. To an extent, like if you watch the show Girls that came out recently, like one of the characters gets really horny at a party and goes into a bathroom and starts masturbating, which I think that it's getting a little bit better. It's not only like the males who are like going in and masturbating now, it's like females do it too. So they're recognizing that in the media a lot more.